I got a phone call a while back from a very good friend of mine, Rabbi Baruch Ber Bender, the founder of Achiezer, the great organization in the 5 towns in Farakwa. He says, Chatzkel, I have a story to tell you. I said, Baruch Ber, hit me. And he says, I had a mace mitzvah. I had an elderly woman who had passed away. And we had to bring her to Kvuras Yisrael. The problem is that they wanted to do an autopsy on her because she was found all alone. She doesn't have any family and nobody to stop it. I had to call the police investigator, the medical examiner, to stop this autopsy. I was concerned, of course, because I didn't know any of the investigators in that part of Long Island. I made the phone call. I got the investigator on the phone. I thought that it would be a difficult situation. The investigator says, Rabbi, how can I help you? I introduce myself. I tell the investigator what the problem is, autopsy, Jewish law, and how we have to do the best we can to not have an autopsy. This police investigator, instead of giving me a hard time, couldn't have been more helpful, couldn't have been more professional, couldn't have been more sensitive to the needs of what I had. And ultimately, we brought this woman to Kvuras Yisrael, and the matter was concluded successfully. I thanked the police investigator after the case was over, and I said, can I ask you a question? How come you were so nice to me? How come you were so incredibly sensitive? I've dealt with many investigators before. Not everyone understands or has a sensitivity. Why are you different? Why did you accept this matter to be so personal and willing to help me? He says, Rabbi, let me tell you a story. Good question. About 2 years ago, I was driving on a highway in New Jersey. I had a flat tire. It came out of nowhere. It was unexpected. I didn't have a telephone on me. I couldn't call for help. I was all alone at the side of a highway with a flat tire. I didn't know what to do. Out of nowhere, a car pulls up behind me. The car pulls up behind me, and the gentleman walks out, starts walking towards me. I didn't know this person. He looked different. I didn't know who he was. He had side curls, a beard, a skull cap. Obviously an identifiable Orthodox Jew. And I said, can you help me out? I got a flat tire. And this person said, sure. Let me take a look at it. He said, no, just call a tow truck for me. He said, call a tow truck? Let me take a look and see if I can fix it myself. Goes down on his hands and knees, looks at the tire, goes back to his car, pulls out some equipment, the jack, air, another tire. Incredible. I said, how can I repay you? He fixed the tire. I reached my hand into the pocket. I wanted to give him a reward. He wouldn't hear anything. He said, absolutely not. He says, why do you do this? He says, that's who we are. That's what I do. We're here to help. I was so impressed. I said, what kind of great people you are. Rabbi, when you called and asked me for my help, the first thing I thought of was that guy who helped me out on the side of the highway. He said, of course I'm going to help. These are kind of people who are so generous, who are so kind. That Chaver member, turns out, from Lakewood, as the story goes, thought that he was changing a flat tire for a stranded motorist. He didn't understand, but what he did really was help a woman to go to Kvuras Yisrael. Mi ka'amcha Yisrael. It's not an isolated story. We are an unbelievably special people. This kind of chesed, this kind of story happens every day, all across Klal Yisrael, in Lakewood, in Brooklyn, in Monsey, in Baltimore, in Florida, in Texas, in California. Mi ka'amcha Yisrael. We are a people that care deeply about our community and the community that we live in. There's so much good that's going on in Klal Yisrael. It is high time that we take great pride in it. If you haven't been watching what's going on outside of your home, outside of your community, it is time to take a better look at the enormous and special chesed that's going on. The chesed of Hatzalah members, Misaska members, Shomer members, Chavera members, the doctors, the professionals, those who lined up to give plasma, the individuals, the rabbeim, the teachers. Mi ka'amcha Yisrael. How special a people are we? This Shabbos we're going to be alone yet again, Shabbos Rosh Chodesh. Yes, of course we're going to be alone. But in that loneliness, are we really alone? Klal Yisrael is alone together. Look around. Be proud. We should be talking about the enormous chesed that's going on. We should tell our children and show them this is who we are. To conclude, in the town of Baranovich, there was a massive fire, a blaze. And everyone came running to Rabbi Chanan Wasserman and said, Rebbe, there's a blaze. There's a big fire. The firefighters can't get it under control. What should we do? Rabbi Chanan said, there's a fire? Grab a bucket and go help them to put out the fire. And they looked at Rabbi Chanan and they said, Rebbe, but we're not firefighters. We don't know how to put out fire. And Rabbi Chanan said to them, when there is a flame, when there is a blaze, when there's an out-of-control inferno in the town, even if you're not a firefighter, everyone becomes a firefighter. It's no secret. There's an inferno. There's no secret we're living in a time of a tremendous fire in Klal Yisrael and in our country and in the world. In such a time, we have all become firefighters. We need to recognize our unbelievably special, unified community, the Rabbeim, the Rabbanim, the teachers, the parents, all of our chesed organizations. We daven to HaKadosh Baruch Hu to look at the unbelievable chesed of who we are. A good Chodesh and good Shabbos.